एक दुनिया बनाता है तो दूसरा उस दुनिया की क्लास लेता है. Ayaz Basra, an architect, a product designer, a futurist. Varun Grover, a comedian, filmmaker, poet, writer.
बट हाय हेलो एवरीवन. और मुझे अभी पता चला कि आप इतनी हिंदी भी बोल लेते हैं. अंदर हम लोग इतनी देर से स्ट्रेस में मैं अंग्रेजी में बात कर रहा था कि ये पता नहीं बांद्रा में 13 फ्लोर पे स्टूडियो है. इसको कहाँ हिंदी आती होगी. ये तो बहुत हिंदी आती है. बट मी एंड अयाज एंड वील टॉक अबाउट ईच अदर्स वर्क्स. अयाज का काम, आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव सीन हिज वर्क्स ऑन Instagram or on like or in your city sometimes maybe, right? There must be a work in this city.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
let
got
them know
a
what.
bunch of cultural detritus, so socials and smokehouse delis and Bombay canteens, Pedros
Yeah,
also.
yeah. So, Gayan,
Cultural garbage.
have you been to? No, I don't think Bombay Canteen and No Pedro are definitely not cultural garbage. I love them. I love
But
both
what the
of them.
socials
The social, I've never been inside one.
cultural garbage.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just too loud, so I've tried once entering and then it became like I was like यहाँ पे तो मतलब वो बात तो नहीं कर सकते. And I don't understand the concept of places where you are supposed to hang out with people and then then screaming your like, so it's impossible. So I've never been. I'm sorry, but yeah. Apart from that, what else people might have seen of your?
Frisbee Cafe,
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Superb. Yeah.
that's the
That is.
redemption one.
Yeah. No. No. I think.
There's
lot of
Concorda
that.
Cafe.
Okay.
Ah,
Cool. You don't get into the menus, do you?
no.
Okay. Like at least the menu design, the thing. No.
No. We just do the
But
space.
the,
Yeah.
the spaces where
And
the
initial
kitchen is going to
ideation
be.
happens in this very kind of fluid way. So there's like usually we kind of get into what the kitchen is thinking.
Mhm.
You know, so in Bombay Canteen, for example, like right in the beginning, there were a lot of blasphemies planned.
Mhm.
They were thinking about pork theplas
हाँ,
while they
yeah.
were starting the ideation process.
Oh,
Like,
pork
मतलब यहाँ पे
theplas
ऐसा
will be, yeah.
मतलब it will piss off everyone across the board.
Mhm.
You know, so like,
Yeah.
okay, let's not then piss people off with a space. Let's do something that puts you at ease and makes you feel कि अच्छा I've been here before. थोड़ा nostalgia fix मिल जाता है. उसके बाद फिर kitchen खेल सकते हो. So you can put people at ease and then insert the only after.
Okay, so I'm very fascinated by this idea of designing an eating space. So so you decide where the kitchen is going to be, and it's not on Vastu, I think.
No.
Kitchen east facing होना चाहिए. I'm a civil engineer, so we were, we had one course on architecture and the
Wow.
space design and नक्शा बनाना
You probably
basically.
do a better job than most architects.
I don't think so. I just don't know.
At least खड़ा तो रहेगा जगह.
Yeah, so I mean the types of windows, the types of designing a house. So basically a residential space, so where the ratio between the sizes of the kitchen and the hall and so there are these simple formula we had, but we never got to that stage where we designed a restaurant. Like it was only the thing. And one strange incident I remember from that course, the funniest, bizarrest thing that the professor asked us, we had to, everyone, 30 students in the class, so everyone had to list one kind of window. So someone, first guy got up, said a circular window, second, the rectangular window, and by the 15th person, the windows were over. Like we didn't know beyond कि अब कौन सा window क्या बोलें. So this guy, the 15th or 16th guy, his name was Gaurav. He got up and he said, ट्रेन में जो ऊपर बर्थ होता है उसके इधर से उधर देखने वाला जो बीच में जाली होता है, that kind of window, and he was thrown out of the class.
But we realized just by hanging out there, there was Makarand Deshpande on one table, and there's like Nasir comes maybe
Yeah.
once in 2 weeks he'll be there.
Yeah.
So the kind of pushback to any kind of change, right, was the first thing we noticed, that you cannot approach it from a sense of creating novelty over there. It has to be exactly the same, but in Prithvi, the idea was to design it in an invisible way. So you have zero disconnect between what always existed and what is coming now. But just by taking care of their business problems, because they were having a lot of issues with people rehearsing in the front half of the cafe, where they wanted quicker turnarounds. You know? So we actually convinced them to move their storeroom behind the theatre and open up that backspace, which was then larger tables and larger chairs. So, and we noticed that everyone was sitting with their feet up. You know, so the seats in Prithvi Theatre at the back are actually 30 inches deep. So you can take off your shoes and sit with your feet up. Because you're sitting for long hours, right? You're doing a research, say you're doing a writing session or you're doing a rehearsal, you're sitting for 4-5 hours and your entire consumption is like 3 cups of chai. So there was no like food turnarounds. So they were bleeding as a business, but they still wanted, their core is the community there, and you can't, you know, suddenly have hipsters coming in and taking over the whole place and the community gets pushed out. So the idea was to then create a much more comfortable area at the back, which would automatically nudge people to go and spend longer hours there, thus freeing up the cafe for the quicker turnaround. So those were then replaced by mood hours, which could be moved around more flexibly. So it's actually like, I guess, understanding what makes the space tick. You know, what is going to be that nuance that people would, I guess, connect with in some sense.
Okay, nice.
I must say at this point that I feel the entire inspiration of the grammar of what we're trying to do with design and architecture comes from you guys. You know, like from you, from Kunal, like people who are actually pioneering the satire space in a way that is so cerebral, right? And it's actually outlining, I mean, I would go back to Akbar Birbal in that sense, right? You know, like the role of Birbal in the court was the court jester, right? Like, and the court jester was the only person who could speak the truth to the king, right, without getting his head cut off. Right? So, and we've lost that role in contemporary governance. We don't have that role. So I think, and especially in design and architecture, like the amount of people who are navel gazing who just like, you know, mera kaam, mera raw concrete finish, like, you know, it's like retarded to some next level. So I think, I mean, we've really lost the role of the court jester. So I feel like at least within the studio, we can be a bit more like make fun of ourselves a little bit.
No, that's amazing. And that's what I love about your work, that it's not just, you know, creating spaces, designs, but you are interacting with the world in a, I don't know if I can say that, in a nicely cynical way, which is good, which is what I
Thank
like.
you for that, man.
You know, I mean, it was a lovely thing that, you know, there was this, I mean, I read this, that how different tools through human history have shaped our neural networks. And so when when the early human or Neanderthals were using the stone tools or rocks, then certain neural networks were made. Then when the paintbrush or just the painting, the cave paintings, then a certain new kind of neural networks were made. So I wanted to just ask now in this age, like it's very new, but still in the last 20 years, we all are using a certain new kind of tool, which is the phone or which is the internet, which is computer, phone. Eventually, a lot of people will end up using AI, you know, no matter we like it or not. We don't, but eventually we will be using it. So, what kind of neural networks you think are going to be evolved in the coming time, in the coming decades, in the coming century? Do you have any like depressing or happy?
No, so this is it's a kind of, I love that you've picked this out because I think it's a constant mindfuck in some sense, like, you know, to try to think about where it's going. And I have a slightly tangential theory about this. If you can bear with me on one.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, what AI in specific is doing is, I think it's training us as a culture in the art of collaborating with other neurologies. Right? Like, so if we consider ourselves as carbon-based neurologies, the AI is a silicon-based neurology. And for example, like, we are surrounded by alien species. Like, we have no idea what an octopus thinks like. It has 3 brains. And it's a dispersed neurology. Each of the arms actually tastes and touches and senses. So it's a kind of an alien living amongst us. And a lot of these neurologies, including, I mean, if you take one step further, it could be mushrooms, it could be forests, it could be all these kind of things. Now, what I feel AI is going to do for us as a culture in the next, say, 25 to 30 years is it's going to create the grammar for collaboration. So, if we're able to collaborate with a silicon-based intelligence, which is the first step, it's going to open us up as a species to have planetary collaboration. So, like, for example, we could have in the next 50, 60 years have a very, very active collaboration with the mushroom. I mean, we already have.
Yeah, I think
in
I've
some
had a
sense,
very
yeah.
good collaboration.
Very good.
I think it was really nice. I think.
Nice breeze.
10 on 10, yeah. So, you remember this one? Yeah, you bhi bhul gaye ab.
Yeah, I think this is maybe a mix-up of a couple of posts. Like this one was, I mean, this I think Elon Musk recently
Yeah.
spoke a lot about this, the fact that we're living in a simulation.
Yeah, so I wanted to know your thoughts on simulation hypothesis. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not new. It's been around for many, I think at least a century, and
Yeah.
then it came together in Matrix, where it was fully explained to the layperson ki it is a simulation or it could be a simulation. But what are your views on it? Like how much of it is simulation and how much of it is free will and how much of it is determinism, whatever, So, can I
Wow,
answer
man.
what
It's like Osho kind of question.
Acha, nahi, Osho, acha, I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, this is a really interesting one, and I think this was around the time when this whole Go match was happening, and the computers were defeating Go and but there was this interesting time in which I mean, I was reading the post game analysis of that thing, and even the Go masters who were commenting on this game, they said that kind of intelligence it was hallucinating moves. So
Yeah.
it was actually beyond calculation.
Yeah.
It was like a order of thinking that was more dreamlike or more hallucinatory. So even they could not preempt. Like it felt like insanity, like temporary insanity. But
Yeah.
where is this coming from? That kind of led to a chain of thinking that that are we then in a simulation and are we downloading things unconsciously from kind of a meta construct that exists? And I feel even that, like with the new advances in computing, which is essentially quantum computers, and once those get into public domain, because right now there are a lot of limitations in terms of the large language models and the kind of computing power that we have at our access. But I mean, like say a good way to imagine AI is a librarian on steroids. Right, like you walk into an infinite library and you ask a question, and then the books arrange themselves in that order and gives you a summary and gives you a fair amount. But a good way to understand quantum computing is actually a black box, right? So, and in that black box, you have every single symphony or orchestra ever written. But when you open the black box, is when one symphony comes out. So it's actually it's like almost all of reality, every single music note that could ever be written or be thought or whatever exists in that till it's observed. Now, the thing is, in that kind of situation, what becomes our role? Like, I mean, again, I'm kind of limited by my sense of design and architecture, kind of keep approaching things from that direction. That if I was to have an art project with a quantum computer, like, what would that make me? So you can become like some sort of a quantum gardener, like, almost like Mali, like, you're trimming things and, you have an endless possibility of greens and endless possibility of forests, but the way you engage with that landscape is like by slowly trimming down possibilities and creating a navigatable path within an infinite sea of things. So I think it's going to take us also as a species into a very different, very uncharted domain like it's almost one step further than AI. And we're sitting at the bottom of this computational pyramid right now. It's a huge skyscraper of computation because it suddenly crunches things, it makes things more accessible, and this is where it gets really kind of murky, moving into really, really kind of strange spaces. And especially when then you have like human-computer interfaces where you can, download and upload intelligence. I mean, you can't even imagine what it's going to be like to imagine what a quantum computer is seeing. Or sensing or feeling. It was living across like I think 27 different dimensions at once.
So this industrial utopia, which we are already in the middle of in a way, right? I mean, what is going on in India and the way I wanted to ask this question specifically about why are our cities looking so fucked up? Like, where is the design, where is the urban planning, where is the aesthetic, where is the at least some sense of harmony? It's all, even newer cities, okay, ठीक है, पुराने शहर अभी उनका कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं, एकदम जो नए अब शहर आ रहे हैं, नए एज इन जहाँ पे नया डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है, प्लेसेस लाइक लखनऊ, भोपाल, व्हाटएवर, इंदौर, they are looking worse than these cities which did not have that much whatever awareness that this is how good cities should look like. So, so what is that you call it industrial utopia, though I think it is industrial dystopia. And so what is going on? What's your take on this and what's happening? Why are things so completely
messed up?
I don't know, yeah.
Oh, that's super interesting. I think, and I mean, there are maybe multiple ways in which, or smaller ways, one can problematize this a little bit. Like, so I think one of the big ones is within the architecture and industrial and sort of interior design kind of space. There is a huge pushback to working in the public domain. Like most, like I would say, even 95% of practices that you look around would be working in a heavily privatized kind of domain. Most of the celebrated projects that you see in any of these design magazines are either second homes, or they're like someone's idea of a vacation, right? Like, but you're living in some 40th story of some place in Parel, but your floors are like some Kerala IPS kind of situation, and there's like some cane chair in the balcony. मतलब खिड़की नहीं खोलने का, उसके अंदर like you can be on vacation, like so like 3-4 air purifiers, but there's a situation where you put yourself into a vacation mode by tricking your body into sitting on a cane thing with your legs spread apart and you're like, "Acha, main pahunch gaya hu Kerala," kind of situation. So I mean, I think and most apartments have now become places of refuge from the city. So the city is like toxic outside, but your home and your apartment and where you live is supposed to be the place of refuge. But in most evolved places, like I would say, even in places that say all of us have been to and enjoy, which have a very active street culture, where you have things going on the street that are engaging, like say a Barcelona or any one of these kind of maybe culture capitals, Berlin, for example. There's a lot of art, there's a lot of engagement, there's a lot of investment in the public domain from the citizenry. So they don't look at homes as places of refuge. Like it doesn't have that anxiety of being that I have to just go back because the city is so toxic. And I feel like in our current conception of practice, like for example, for us, what has been really empowering is to be part of collectives. So we were part of something called the Bandra Collective, which is a group of 6 architects working in the public domain. And what each of us have done in that sense is diluted our individual studio identities to be part of something bigger. And for example, one of the things that the Bandra Collective did was the Carter Road Skate Park. Now the thing is, it's outside the scope of any one studio to do that, because it requires a lot of lobbying. It requires to go for every single BMC kind of meeting. It requires you to be doing paving drawings with chalk, working with a BMC contractor who's already appointed. और वो मतलब ऐसा है कि paver blocks already गिरा चुका है Carter Road पे. Now you have to go and say, अच्छा यहाँ पे design डालो या. So I mean, it requires a lot of hustling. But I feel that kind of work, one project or two projects of that kind, which suddenly try to upgrade a public space which is actively used, has so much more meaning than say 50 projects published in some architectural digest, which essentially, but I feel like the problem is that most of us draw a validation from those glossy magazines. It's really sad, and I feel like most practices who have not, so even in Goa we are part of something called the Goa Collective, which is I mean, writing rants about like the casinos and stuff like that. So but yeah, I mean, even for us, we want to be a much more flatter organization where we hopefully, like say for example, collaborating. Shit.
I switched it on. I thought wind आ रहा है तो मैंने बंद किया था.
Yeah, so I mean, say for example, like a collaboration where say what would your vision of an ideal city be like, and could a design office execute that vision? From just creating, say, public performance spaces.
Yeah.
Which we really lacked during the pandemic, for example.
Yeah.
Everyone felt the lack of culture spaces.
Yeah.
So what would like an ideal pub street performance venue be like? How would we make it safe? How would we make it accessible for everyone? And then we kind of, even speculatively, just try to design it and visualize it. I think those are really powerful moves for actually just understanding the kind of forces that are playing out in the street.
Yeah.
Which is not a
My
privatized
ideal
domain.
city would be where there is no that I love.
The city tells you to love it too.
Love Malad. Who loves? I mean, there is this. वो जूहू में लगा हुआ है सामने. I love Mumbai. I think. I love जूहू लिखा है.
Mumbai, yeah. I love Mumbai.
हाँ, I love Mumbai है ना, वो ठीक सामने जो सिग्नल पे टी पॉइंट पे. वो उस पे वो जो एमएलए ने बनवाया, उसने कॉन्सेप्ट का वहां पे क्रेडिट लिया है उतना बड़ा सा. कॉन्सेप्ट बाय सम एमएलए whoever एमएलए ऑफ दैट एरिया इज दैट. वो उसको लग रहा है कि कुछ बहुत ही ऐसा यूनिक मैंने दिया है दुनिया को कि ये कोई चुरा नहीं ले, ये आइडिया बाद में क्रेडिट तो मेरा रहना चाहिए. उधर इतना बड़ा बड़ा उसने क्रेडिट, वो ऑलरेडी मतलब एक वो जो प्लास्टिक है दैट आई लव मुंबई वाला, आई लव कहीं भी लगा हुआ है इस समय. वो
तो नितेश के घर के सामने लगा आई लव तालिगांव.
there was this actual news item, I love I think फरीदाबाद और some दिल्ली में, वो कोई लव उठा के ले गया उसको. उसको लगा यही काम का है. आई तो मैं खुद हूँ, फरीदाबाद का कोई क्या. नाउ इट इज अ वेरी deeply philosophical statement. I Faridabad. Therefore I am, आगे लिख दो खत्म हो जाए. So I Faridabad लगा हुआ है. That's my ideal city. ये सारे हटा दो, गंदे सबसे गंदे प्लास्टिक के वो हैं, और I have no idea why. I mean, the easiest way to convince anyone is to tell them a story, which doesn't actually ask them to do anything. It's a story which just moves them and moves them, emotionally first, and then that emotion converts into some kind of physical energy, and then they move physically also. So that's how I try to achieve whatever I try, that you have to find a story which resonates with the people who have more power, or who you are talking to in a way, and who you want to listen to. Pure fantasies, and they take you away from your current reality, what we call escapist cinema, a lot of it. But the kind of stories I want to do, even if it is a sacred games, which is very, which is very thriller and guns and gangsters and all, and still there is that sense of reality I wanted to ground it in. And that's why we picked up the whole writer's room. We picked up the idea that we'll run the story of India parallel to the story of Ganesh Gaitonde, which is not part of the novel. In the novel, Vikram Chandra has like great inner lives of these characters, both Sartaj and Gaitonde, the cop and the gangster. But the actual India, which is influencing their choices, is kind of missing in the novel. And I'm not saying missing by by accident, by choice, by design. This is what the novel is. But for me, it is very important to find these hooks which are very real to the world around. So in Masan, the way we have seen Banaras is always from the ghats to the Ganges, and not the other way around, which is what tourists see. So tourists go on a boat ride, and that's how they interact with the city. So they see the city from the boat. That's how all the exoticized images of Banaras are, from the boat to the ghats, where there are these umbrellas, and there's this life on the ghat, and it's always seen from the boats. And that's the Western gaze, that's the tourist gaze, that's the outsider gaze. As students, we rarely took boat rides. Boat rides are, I mean, after 2 boat rides, you're bored. You're like, what is there to, see from the boat? The cities in the walking, the cities in the lanes, the cities on the I mean, the boat is okay, good for one ride, and you click some pictures. And this was like 1999 to 2003 when we didn't even have cameras to click anything. So that's why when Masan, we were writing, and then we were designing the film, like how it will be, Neeraj and Avinash Arun, the cinematographer, and so this idea came that we will not take that angle at all.
Lovely. Yeah.
So the whole film, whenever we see the Ganges, we see from Banaras point of view. So Banaras, or the humans of Banaras, looking at the Ganges. So that angle is there, but not the reverse one. So these kind of very small things add to how we perceive our memories or reality of the spaces, and that helps in building a more coherent aesthetic,
Yeah.
I think, and a true aesthetic,
Yeah.
authentic.
Okay, this is a fun one.
Ooh.
Oh, it looks like a
What is
turd.
this? Yeah, no, okay, Rorschach test. Oh, I thought it was like part of a hippopotamus. Yeah, just the face or the.
So the backstory of this is what there was this luxury conference and
Uh-huh.
called Ace Tech, and this was a commission piece saying that we have this budget and we'd like you to do a luxury installation, and I mean we've never done any work in luxury, so we have actually no idea how to approach it as well, right? I mean we've had mostly like failed relationships with luxury clients. So the idea was that we started reading about the etymology of the word luxury, and we found out that it's actually rooted in lechery, which is sexual excess. And so we're like, what if we can design a piece that actually, is really sexually excessive? And this was called Desbauch, which is like debauchery. If you go to the next slide, yeah, that's so essentially this is where one person sits, his crotch is right here, and the other guy's face was under.
Yeah, what is the material?
It's a recycled plywood.
Oh, it is plywood.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's plywood stacked above each other. So this is Amir spearheaded this project from the studio.
Nice.
So it's essentially a sofa that just puts you in compromising positions as soon as you sit on it. Like it's just the weirdest thing that you've ever sat on. Like it contorts your body, it puts your ass in someone else's face, it puts someone's crotch where it should not be. I mean, do you find any parallels in literature with contortions and putting in places where you shouldn't be?
Oh, I think all good literature puts you in uncomfortable and uncomfortable lecturer's positions. I think so. I mean, all good literature is or in fact, I mean, it's a very reductive metaphor, but I forgot but who said it, but someone said all great art is basically like great sex. Right, all great art is that interactive, that you feel you are one with it, and you feel you are, there's an arc of enjoying it, and then there is a certain kind of catharsis through it. So that way, I think lots of great literature which I feel I've been in compromising position with, and that's amazing. But this one is a great piece of satire, I would say.
Yeah.
Did they get the joke, like the people at the
No.
conference? Did someone buy it for like 1 crore or something?
You cook a lot.
Yeah, I cook a lot. I cook
Yeah.
at least one meal a day, and cooking is my like backup option in life. If someone says, okay, no more comedy and no more cinema allowed in this country, we are very close. So I think, eventually resort to cooking as whatever survival bread and butter thing for my life. And I love cooking. So cooking, again, I can do like writing. At one point I used to think I love writing so much, and I still honestly, though thankfully life has not taken me there, that I would pay people to allow me to write. So at one time my plan was that I will earn through a day. Cooking is a similar thing where I'll be very happy to cook for free or cook for, just for sustenance basic, but I love cooking. So and it comes from the same idea what you're talking about, because cooking and eating are the most mysterious things we do, humans. I mean, we spend 6 hours, and my closest analogy to this is the mandala making Buddhist monks do.
Yeah.
They spend
Very true.
sometimes a week, and the moment it is complete, the whole rangoli, the mandala design with, meticulously, every small dot is like in alignment with the overall symmetry, overall design, the aim of it, and it is also flowing. It is in a way where they are creating on the go. They don't have a copy design with which they are, trying to mimic on the floor. And then the moment it is complete, you wipe it off, and which is what cooking is in a way, right?
It's amazing, yeah.
You just, so it is meditative. That's why we do it. It's not like, okay, there is the joy of completing something and making it to the idea you have in your head, that this is what it will taste like, and that's all you have in cooking, right? You have an idea that what you are creating will taste like this, and that this is also very floating, abstract. So cooking is it looks very real, actual, what, tangible, but it is the most intangible thing we do. And the joy is in the intangible. And the moment it is done, you spend sometimes, a simple recipe like kheer, payesh, takes at least 4 hours of standing there and constantly working with the milk to make it thick, and then there is a right time to add the rice, there is a right time to add kesar, there is a right time to add the kaju and all, and then the sugar or good or whatever, sucrose you are adding. Uh, there is that, there are so many intricate things, and the moment it is finished and the moment you start eating, it vanishes, right? It's gone. You spend 4 hours and it's gone in, sometimes if it is really well made, it's gone in 40 seconds. And so what was the point of that thing, for you don't, definitely we don't do cooking to fill our stomachs, because that can be done with, kurkure also, I think. So why do we do it? So it's a very mysterious process, and that process itself is so fun for me. Is so always, every day it is a new, new excitement. In fact, that's one excitement which, on a very bad, depressing day also, I get out of the bed because I will make omelette, and just omelette. It's the simplest thing on the planet, and still every day I try to make a new omelette which has never been made before by me or anyone else on the planet. That's what I aim every day, that this is a new omelette.
There are people looking back at archives and saying, okay, this is the seed of those thinking, and this is the seed of thought of a kind of society that we actually want to live in, a society that is very basic, actually, just a respectful, dignified living. And I mean, you said this something really beautiful in one of your, I think, shows or interviews, where you said the role of the comedian is just to point out that the roof is leaking, right? That's a leak. I mean, one is not saying break the roof and bring it down, but you're just pointing out the leak.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love your thoughts in terms of, this idea of intergenerational wisdom and intergenerational knowledge. But I feel you channel it somewhere, like, in your work, you're also looking at long memories of, the cities that you've inhabited, memories that have outlived, recipes that are coming to you from a very long circuitous kind of a route.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to say here, but yeah, broadly, I mean, I feel what I do, I don't do out of a sense of responsibility for making the world better for the next generation, because I don't think there is going to be a next generation.
It's comforting.
Yeah, world is, 30, 40 years probably. Yeah, that's all. So I don't, anyway, I mean, no, I don't.
Mic drop.
I don't do it with a sense of responsibility. I do it because that's the only way I know how to live. For me, observing things and putting them in perspective is needed for my own sanity. I want to simply see the reasoning, how things flow, the systems, the behavior of people, the emotionality, the the politics, everything. These are big systems.
Yeah.
So how they work for me, I'm just wired that way that I want to understand these systems. And how evolution has made us is basically you will understand something only when you say it out aloud or write it, because otherwise it's only a vague thought. You don't even know what you're thinking, because the mind is constantly buzzing with so many things. Okay, I want to make sense of politics, but in my mind it is some Karan Aujla song also playing. है ना कि वो ना माए नहीं दिल ले गया कोई ले गया कोई. I'm like, no, shut up, I want to. And then suddenly it is some kufar kare हीरे kufar करे चल रहा है, तो I want to make sense of it. So I have to shut that out by saying it out aloud or by writing it. And that's the only way I can process my thoughts and get clarity. So for me, it is about clarity. And for me, all communication is about clarity, not because I want to give clarity, because I want to have clarity.
Yeah.
And for me, that is the only way I kind of.
Yeah. But you are aware that there's a ripple effect of your search for clarity.
Yeah, which, I mean, there is a ripple effect of someone saying, I love Mumbai is a good thing to put. So there is ripple effect of every fucking thing on, on this planet. But yeah, I'm just saying I don't honestly care if there is no ripple effect. And I don't, I do it just to live with myself. So that's the only way I know. So yeah. And I think we are running very late on time. It's already like 9. I don't know. आप लोगों को क्या टाइम बताया गया यहाँ से? नहीं, आप मत बोलो. आप अपने ये साइड के हो, वो साइड. किसी का कोई ऐसा है क्या? क्योंकि नहीं, आप लोग बताओगे नहीं तब तक दरवाजा नहीं खुलेगा, लिफ्ट बंद है. वहाँ पे वो खड़े हैं, वो इसीलिए खड़े हैं. He'll just. But honestly, we are not even halfway through. You know that? Like.
We're done actually. We'll end on this.
Yeah, क्योंकि हाँ, मतलब 9 बज गया. हाँ, तो कोई नहीं.
The end is here.
Yes. Oh, अच्छा, the end is here. Yeah, that's what I was saying.